For the next 21 days, I want you to talk to yourself differently. Not as the person you've been, but as the person you're becoming, because your words are not just sounds, they are seeds. And every time you open your mouth, you are planting the future. You are the prophet of your own life. What you declare becomes your direction. What you speak becomes your story. You don't realize it, but every "I can't" you say builds a wall, and then every "I will" builds a bridge. So for 21 days, I want you to build bridges. Bridges that lead from fear to faith, from doubt to destiny, from weakness to strength. You have to understand that your life follows your language. You cannot speak defeat and live in victory. You cannot speak lack and walk in abundance. You cannot speak fear and expect to live in peace. The world doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you say. The scripture says, let the weak say, I am strong. It doesn't say, wait until you feel strong. It says, speak it first. Be, because your feelings follow your focus and your focus follows your words. If you change what you say, you'll change what you see. For 21 days, I want you to be intentional about the words you allow to leave your mouth. When you wake up, before you touch your phone, before you scroll through the noise of the world, talk to yourself. Tell yourself who you are. Tell yourself what you're capable of. Tell yourself that today is going to be the day you move closer to your purpose. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I am chosen. I am favored. I am disciplined. I am wealthy in mindset, spirit, and purpose. Even if you don't feel it yet, say it anyway. Faith doesn't speak from feeling. It speaks from vision. Because faith begins with your own voice. Most people are waiting for someone else to encourage them. But the truth is, the most powerful encouragement is self-generated. The words that come from your mouth enter your own ears and go straight into your subconscious mind. That means EV. Every time you talk to yourself, you are training your brain what to believe. So for 21 days, give your mind new instructions. Tell it that success is your standard, not your struggle. Tell it that discipline is your language, not distraction. Tell it that favor follows you because you're walking in alignment, not accident. But here's what will happen. You'll start to hear another voice, the voice of your past. The voice that says, well, who are you to say that? You've failed before. You've tried this before. You're not that type of person. That voice will come to challenge your confession. It will sound familiar, but it's not your truth. It's just your history trying to protect its territory. Every time that voice speaks, silence it with truth. Replace it with a higher word. Say, it may have been true once, but it's not true anymore. I've changed my language, and my language is changing my life. The mind is built by repetition. The first time you speak a new affirmation, your mind, reshape. CTS it. The 10th time, it starts to question it. The 21st time, it starts to accept it. That's why 21 days matters. Because repetition is how the brain rewires itself. What you continually speak becomes what you eventually believe, and what you believe becomes what you live. You don't change your life by force, you change it by frequency. The more you repeat the truth, the more your spirit starts to vibrate at the level of that truth. That's how transformation happens. Little by little, word by word, day by day. For 21 days, speak as if it's already done. Don't talk to yourself from your current condition. Talk to yourself from your completed vision. If your goal is freedom, speak from freedom. If your dream is abundance, speak from abundance. The universe doesn't respond to need, it responds to certainty. The moment your words carry conviction, your reality starts to shift. You begin to walk differently, move differently, and make decisions that align with your declaration. In your language changes, your identity changes. And I want you to imagine this. 21 days from now, you wake up and something feels different. You're not as distracted. You're not as afraid. You start to notice opportunities showing up where they never did before. People start treating you according to the words you've spoken about yourself. That's not luck. It's alignment. Because when your inner conversation changes, your outer world adjusts to match it. So here's the challenge. For the next 21 days, refuse to speak defeat. Refuse to speak fear. Refuse to speak lack. Replace every negative sentence with one of power, one of purpose, one of vision. Say to yourself every morning, tonight I am becoming everything I was created to be. Say it until you believe it. Yes, to be spoken to with power, purpose, and faith. So start today. Open your mouth and prophesy your future. Speak life over your vision, abundance over your path, and strength over your soul. Because when you talk to yourself like this for 21 days straight, your life will never sound, look, or feel the same again. You are the prophet of your own life. The words you speak are not random. They are instructions sent out to shape the reality you experience. Every declaration you make is like a command your future is required to obey. You don't need to wait for someone else to come and speak greatness over you. Your voice carries that same creative power. When you speak with conviction, the atmosphere begins to rearrange itself to match what you've said. Your words are the blueprint, and your actions become the construction team that builds what you've spoken. Too many people underestimate the power of their own tongue. They speak casually about failure, about fear, about frustration, and they wonder why those very things seem to keep repeating in their lives. The truth is, your life is always echoing what your mouth has been saying. If you keep saying, I'm tired, you'll find more reasons to feel drained. If you keep saying, I never win, your mind will stop looking for victory. But the moment you start to prophesy strength, favor, and purpose, your world begins to bend toward those outcomes. When you open your mouth, you're either predicting your progress or predicting your problems. Every word carries creative authority. It's not about trying to speak positive just to feel good. It's about recognizing that your words carry the same divine energy that shapes worlds. What you keep saying to yourself becomes the silent law that governs your choices. If you tell yourself you're not good enough, you'll unconsciously make decisions that keep you small. But if you tell yourself you're chosen, you'll begin to walk like it. The words you speak today become the environment you live in tomorrow. That's why it's so important to speak with intention. Don't say what you feel. Say what you want to see. Don't repeat what went wrong. Declare what's about to go right. You can't always control your circumstances, but you can always control your confession. And when your confession stays consistent with faith, your reality eventually rises to meet it. You are not powerless. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are speaking it. Every time you affirm your purpose, your destiny listens. Every time you declare victory, your path clears. Speak it until it becomes natural. Speak it until doubt has no room left to whisper. Speak it until everything around you begins to shift in agreement. Because you are the prophet of your own life, and your words are the foundation on which your future will stand. Faith begins with your own voice. Before anyone else believes in you, before any opportunity opens, before any door swings wide, you must learn to believe in the sound of your own conviction. The words that come from your mouth are not just communication, they are creation. When you speak in faith, your voice carries authority that commands your emotions, your actions, and even your environment to align with what you've declared. So many people are waiting for someone to come and confirm what God already whispered inside them. They're waiting for a friend, a mentor, or a crowd to tell them they're ready. But real faith doesn't wait for validation. Real faith speaks before there's evidence. It says, "So I can," when it still looks impossible. It says, "It's done," while it's still unfinished. Because faith doesn't begin with what you see, it begins with what you say. Your voice is the trigger of your belief. Every time you speak words of confidence, courage, and purpose, your subconscious mind starts to accept that as truth. The more you repeat it, the more your inner world begins to align with it. And when your inner world shifts, your outer world follows. That's why you can't afford to keep silent about your dreams. You can't afford to talk down to yourself, to agree with fear, or to let self-doubt narrate your story. What you say to yourself in private becomes what you manifest in public. There's something powerful that happens when you begin to speak faith even while you're surrounded by uncertainty. Your own words become a source of fuel. They strengthen your spirit when your emotions are weak. They remind your heart what your vision already knows. When you say, "I will overcome this," your body rises with new energy. When you say, "Fine, I'm built for this," your mind starts finding ways to prove it true. That's how faith works. It listens to your voice and builds evidence around it. You don't have to wait for perfect conditions to start speaking faith. Start right where you are with what you have and declare what you believe. Say it when you're scared. Say it when you're unsure. Say it when no one else is listening. Because your ow and voice carries the sound of transformation. And the moment you decide to speak faith over your life, everything that was once resisting you begins to rearrange itself in your favor. The truth is, nobody's voice can activate your destiny like your own. Others can encourage you, inspire you, or pray for you. But the power that shifts your life lies in what you say when you're alone. So open your mouth and speak with authority. Speak as if the mountain has already moved. Speak as if the door has already opened. Speak as if the promise is already fulfilled. Because faith doesn't begin with applause. It begins with a whisper from your own soul saying, "Say now I believe." Your mind responds to repetition. Whatever you feed it consistently becomes its default setting. Every thought, every affirmation, every declaration you repeat builds a pattern that your subconscious begins to recognize as truth. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeated. It simply believes what it hears most often. That means the words you choose, the thoughts you dwell on, and the confessions you make every day are programming your future long before it arrives. Think about it. Most people have been repeating negative things for years without realizing it. If I'm not good enough, it never works out for me. And people like me don't win. Those phrases, repeated over time, form mental walls that block progress. The moment you try to rise higher, your mind pulls you back because it's loyal to its programming. But when you start feeding your mind a new script, one filled with confidence, gratitude, and purpose, it begins to rebuild your identity from the inside out. It doesn't happen overnight, but through repetition, you retrain your thinking. That's why consistency is more powerful than intensity. Saying one affirmation with passion for a day won't change your life, but saying it every morning for 21 days will begin to rewire your belief system. It's not about hype, it's about bit. The more you repeat the truth, the more natural it becomes to think from that truth. Soon, confidence feels automatic. Discipline becomes normal. Faith becomes instinctive. Your mind is like fertile soil. It doesn't care what kind of seed you plant. It will grow whatever you consistently water. If you plant fear and doubt through repetition, that's what you'll harvest. But if you plant faith, success, and gratitude, your life will begin to bear those fruits. The process is simple but sacred. Say it until you see it. Speak it until your actions match your words. Every great transformation begins with repetition. The world calls it practice, but in truth, it's reprogramming. When you keep telling yourself, and I'm focused, and I'm unstoppable, I'm favored, you're training your mind to believe it. And once your mind believes it, your behavior follows. You begin to make decisions that align with that belief, and soon, the life you once only spoke about becomes the life you live. So key, repeating what you want to become. Even on the days it feels fake, keep speaking it. Because the same way repetition built your old limitations, repetition will build your new freedom. Your mind is always listening. Teach it what to believe, and it will teach your future how to respond, silence the inner critic with truth. That voice in your head that tells you you're not enough, that you're behind, that you'll never get it right. It's not speaking truth, it's speaking history. It's the echo of your past failures, the repetition of old fears, the residue of moments when you doubted yourself. But understand this, that voice is not your identity, it's just an old recording. And the only way to silence it is to play a new message louder than the old one. The inner critic thrives on evidence from your past. It reminds you of what didn't work, of when you fell short, of who walked away. It keeps you chained to a version of yourself you've already outgrown. But the moment you confront it with truth, its power breaks. The truth is, you've already survived everything that tried to destroy you. The truth is, you've been growing while that inner voice was trying to convince you you're stuck. The truth is, your failures are not final. They were lessons preparing you for what's next. You can't fight the inner critic with emotion. You fight it with revelation. You remind yourself that your worth isn't determined by performance, but by purpose. You remind yourself that your value doesn't decrease because of a delay, and your destiny doesn't disappear because of a detour. Truth dismantles the lies that fear builds. When that inner voice says, you're not qualified, truth says, I'm chosen. When it says you're too late, truth says that my timing is divine. When it says, you failed too many times, truth says, each failure was fertilizer for my growth. Every time you replace self-criticism with truth, you weaken the grip of that old identity. The more you affirm what's real about you, the discipline, the resilience, the faith, the vision, the quieter the critic becomes, because that voice can't survive in an atmosphere filled with affirmation. It loses oxygen when you stop agreeing with it. The moment you stop rehearsing your fears and start repeating your truth, your spirit begins to rise. Silencing the inner critic isn't about pretending it doesn't exist. It's about starving it of your attention. It feeds on your focus, so shift your focus. When it starts to speak, respond with truth. Speak louder. Speak with authority. Speak from the reality of who you are, not the memory of who you were, because you can't walk into your future while still arguing with your past. And every time you speak truth, you remind that old voice it no longer has the right to narrate your story. The truth is stronger than the critic. And the moment you believe that, the noise begins to fade. Your peace returns. Your confidence rises. And your mind aligns once again with the voice of purpose instead of the echo of fear. Speak as if it's already done. Speak from the end, not the middle. Speak from the victory, not the battle. Because your words carry power to pull the unseen into the seen. When you declare something as if it's already finished, you align your mind, your emotions, and your actions with that reality. You start to move differently. You start to think differently. You start to make decisions that match what you've spoken. Most people speak from their circumstance, not their conviction. They describe what they see instead of declaring what they believe. They talk about their problems, not their promises. But when you start speaking as if it's already done, you shift your energy from waiting to walking. You stop sounding like a victim and start sounding like a visionary, because faith doesn't wait for confirmation. It creates it. When you say, I am successful, before you see the evidence, your words begin to guide your behavior. When you say, I am healed, before the pain leaves, your faith sends healing into motion. When you say, I'm walking in abundance, even while your bank account disagrees, you start attracting opportunities that align with that declaration. The moment your language changes, your life starts moving in the direction of your words. Speaking as if it's already done is not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing a higher one. It's about understanding that your current situation is temporary, but your declaration is eternal. You're not pretending it's prophetic. You're speaking to things that are not as though they were, because you understand that every manifestation begins as a declaration. Words build momentum, and momentum builds miracles. When you speak from vision instead of limitation, you begin to tap into divine creativity. Ideas start flowing. Solutions appear. People show up. Why? Because your words have shifted the atmosphere. You've announced to the universe, to your mind, and to your speech, I writ that you already possess what you've prayed for. And once your mind believes it's possible, your actions start to make it inevitable. That's why you must guard your speech. Every sentence you speak either pulls your future closer or pushes it further away. When you speak doubt, you delay destiny. When you speak faith, you accelerate it. You don't have to see the finish line to speak like you've already crossed it. You just have to trust that your words are paving the way. So from this moment forward, talk like the person who's already achieved it. Walk like the one who's already arrived. Then and earth begin to rearrange themselves to make your words come true. 21 days to rewire your reality. That's all it takes to begin. Transforming the entire rhythm of your mind, your emotions, and your habits. Because change doesn't happen by chance. It happens by repetition, by consistency, by speaking and believing new truths until they replace the old ones. The same way your old limitations were built one thought at a time, your new freedom will be built one declaration at a time. For 21 days, your words must become your focus. Every morning, speak what you want to see. Every night, affirm what you're becoming. Don't let your emotions set the tone. Let your vision do it. Even when you don't feel it, speak it. Even when you can't see progress, stay consistent. Your mind is always listening, and it begins to shift with repetition. At first, it will resist you. It will whisper that this is pointless, that nothing's changing. But if you stay consistent, that resistance becomes surrender. Your thoughts will start to obey your declarations. That's the power of 21 days. It's not just a number, it's a cycle of transformation. The first 7 days, you're breaking old patterns. The next 7, you're building new ones. The final 7, you're becoming what you've been speaking, because the brain learns through reinforcement. It doesn't care if what you're saying is good or bad. It just records what it hears the most. So when you spend 21 days speaking power, discipline, and abundance, your brain starts treating those words as your new identity. But you have to commit fully. You can't speak life for 3 days and speak fear on the 4th. You can't affirm faith in the morning and complain by noon. Every time you contradict your declaration, you reset your progress. Speak it and stand by it. Speak it and walk like it's true. Speak it and live as if it's already unfolding. Because 21 days of focused speech is not just a challenge, it's a spiritual realignment. Imagine what your life would look like 3 weeks from now if, instead of doubting, you decided to declare victory every single day. Imagine waking up with clarity, with peace, with confidence, because your inner dialogue has shifted. The same voice that used to criticize you now empowers you. The same thoughts that used to drain you now drive you. That's what happens when you rewire your reality with your words. So commit to it. No shortcuts, no exceptions. For 21 days, talk like the version of you that you've been dreaming to become. When you wake up, say, son, I'm built for greatness. When you face challenges, say, son, I was made for this. When fear whispers, answer it with faith. Speak like the person who's already living the life you desire, because when your words become consistent, your world becomes obedient. 21 days of faith-filled speech can undo years of negative conditioning. 21 days of speaking vision can destroy decades of doubt. You have the power to create mom. Enter them with your mouth. So start today. For the next 21 days, let your voice become your strategy, your faith become your fuel, and your words become your weapon. If you stay faithful to that process, you won't just change your thoughts, you'll change your entire reality.